So it's wonderful to have the chance to talk to you now that we're on the second part of the first season, because your character, out of everybody, is the one that is evolving the fastest because of what's going on. Claire knows everything you don't. You're facing something completely new. You're adapting to this woman. You're trying to just figure her out. So, how is this process for you with this character and all of the complications of this relationship?
Yeah, I agree. Actually, he in the first part of the season we kind of know who Jamie is roughly, but we don't know an awful lot of detail about him. But ever since the moment that she sort of falls into his life, he's having to now face up to who he is and have to take responsibility for once in his life. And until he had her, he only had himself to look after. So yes, he certainly does go on a very big journey, and I think by the end of the season, he's gone a great distance, and it's only just beginning as well. So yeah, it's great to see him develop.
There are certain characteristics about this character that the audience we have been fascinated with is how loyal he is, not only to Claire but also to his clan, to the point that he does things to get to a spot, and he uses his brain to convince people of doing things in a better way. This character is transported from the books. So how did you find the colors of this person that we see in the show?
Yeah, he's very true to his word, and I think that's something that has been interesting to discover or to research. As the people in that time, in that period, a man's word was his honor, and if you said you were going to do something, then that's what you do, and that's certainly the difference between maybe this age, when it has less strength or less power. So he's got this sort of strength to him, the strength of will, this personality. He's very direct. He does what he says. But during the second part of the season, we also see the other side to him, that he has pride and he's stubborn, and he's like any other man, really. He's sort of finding his way in the world.
The customs. You have to do a lot of things wearing these outfits. They don't look so easy. They seem complicated. How is that process for you to get accustomed to the kilt? And we also, it's very interesting, we learn how it's worn the right way. So how is that for you?
Absolutely, yeah. I think Terry Dressback, who's the costume designer, has done a terrific job with the costumes. And honestly, it's been a great way to get into character. Every morning, just putting on the kilt and the way it makes you walk, the way you carry yourself, all the extra equipment that these Highlanders carry really makes your character bigger. It makes you stand in a different way, and I've really enjoyed that. It's certainly been part of the process of finding who Jamie is, and just the way he wears his kilt, or finding out the traditions behind that as well. And we do, as you alluded to there, that we do show in one of the episode beginnings, so roughly how you put on this great kilt, and that's part of a sort of ritual that's almost almost like the Pacific Islanders and the Maoris. It's definitely a warrior culture, and feels that's part of who Jamie is as a warrior.
And that is just an element that in today's society we trivialize a little bit, but in the show we understand the context of it, just a piece of clothing, but also we're, like with other things, we're learning about the culture, about the history. Exactly. And that is a very important side, because I think that history is another character, and it's a huge responsibility for you, the performance in the show. So how is that for you?
Absolutely. I'm very, very aware, being a Scotsman as well, that this show can't just be an Americanized version of Scotland. It has to have the heart and the truth to it. And so therefore, everything is researched. We try to be as accurate as wholly possible. And that goes as far back as, the materials used to make the kilts was researched, the colors from the wildlife, the people we have making, the baskets or the background material, all local and Scottish craftsmen. So yes, it feels utmost importance to me, part of my honor and my pride as a Scotsman to bring that to camera and to be proud and say, no, this is true Scotland.
Tell me about the weather, because you love the weather of your area of the world, but I'm sure that working under rain and adverse circumstances is quite a challenge now.
Yes, for sure. Scotland is not the driest place in the world, and unfortunately, we managed to shoot in all conditions because, for some reason, rain doesn't really show up on camera unless it's torrential, and quite often Scotland is just always drizzling wet, so you don't see it. So we normally film in any sort of weather. There's been a couple of days where we've been in the Highlands of Scotland, trying to shoot maybe a majestic scene on a mountaintop with a great panorama, and then we get there and it's mist and fog and you can see no more than 100 feet. But that's the joy of Scotland, and we somehow make it work.
Finally, millions of people are watching the show. How did you understand the scope of this project, the size of this production? When did you realize, oh my God, this is gigantic?
I mean, I guess I still don't quite believe it. But yeah, I mean, it's terrific that people have taken this on board. But I guess even from day one, you know, when I started to see the sort of fan base that Diana already has for her books, you know, she's sold over 25 million of these books, and so people are aware of them. And certainly, yeah, on social media, the responses we started to get early on was like, okay, this is going to be a big journey.
It is an amazing journey. Thank you so much for your time.
Thank you so much. Great.
Take
Great
care.
stuff. Thank you.
Thank
Great
you.
to meet you.